Okay, so I'm going to provide a couple quick reminders first about what you're doing with your essay and then go over your conclusion. So to start, you want to make sure that you have in your essay an attention getter, your buffer, your thesis, your three different preview sentences about the three different characters and the way that they're going to show up in your body paragraphs, and a transition sentence that leads into whatever the first character is you're going to write about. Just remind yourself of that. I just randomly threw in somebody's essay um, just to remind you guys about how to use quotes. So at the very beginning of your essay, if you chose to quote, make sure that you also cite that. So here's a good example, sort of a good example of how to start your essay with a quote. So Florence King, an American novelist, once stated, so mention who said it. People are so busy dreaming the American dream and fantasizing what they could be, that should be lowercase, so grammar check, or have the right to be, they're all asleep at the switch. Consequently, we're living in the age of human error. Make sure you include the website that you got the information from. Then you must, for where you got this quote from, but not for Mice and Men, just from where you got this quote from for the attention getter, cite it. So you'll go ahead and copy the website, go to easybib.com, EASYBIB.com, right? When you go to easybib.com, this is the front page, paste in your URL, click on Cite It, and they'll find it for you and say cite this. Continue to final step. For contributors, put the name of the person who said what they said. So I need to go back and find that. So Florence King. So I would type in Florence and King. This isn't exactly the way you normally cite because it would be an article that was written on so random person, but just for me, so I know you look up the information, do that. The date it was published, put down the date that you actually got the information. So 16, month is November. Here's 2016. Create citation. As you continue on, it's going to say, here's your citation. Click copy and paste the citation. Don't need to sign up though. And then go to the end of your essay and type in something that says works cited. Paste in your citation and then center that. So works cited looks correct. Okay. There we go. Now you're done. Now, to go back to a couple other things real quick, make sure you have a buffer. Make sure you have something that goes from your attention getter into your thesis. Again, this was about the American dream and African Americans being during the time period the story was written and not being able to be equal. So you want to lead us from that into the actual characters in the story. So this is about our actual real life. This is about characters in the story. So you want to lead us. That's the bridges. Make sure your body paragraphs have a topic sentence. Maybe look at your preview sentence and restate that in a new way. Don't put the exact same wording for your topic sentence that you had for your preview. Again, here's an example. Crooks was an African-American stable buck that had high hopes of owning property, yet was held back from his dream due to the extreme racism in the time he lived. Again, that is a preview sentence. As you go through your essay, make sure when you get to your quotes, you're introducing or leading us into your quotes. So Crooks knew it was wrong and, quote, Crooks scowled. Put something at the beginning of the sentence that leads us into what your quotes are going to be about. Never, never, never just start a sentence with quotations. Crooks once stated as he was walking down the street, Crooks was once struggling and said, lead us into your quote. And then here's how you cite with the page numbers. A page number should go at the end, inside of the parentheses, outside of the quotes. Okay, so that's just how we're doing it. At the end of your body paragraphs, make sure you have a transition leading us into the next body paragraph. Every body paragraph should have a transition that leads us from one body paragraph to the next. So since this was about Crooks and the next one's about Curly's wife, your transition should be about Curly's wife, leading us into the next paragraph. Curly's wife, who was using prejudice against Crooks, was a victim of this prejudice as well. And then I'm going to include all this info that you just saw onto our Canvas page right now, if you want to look at any of that. And here's how to write a conclusion. For your conclusion, you can conclude with a quote, go back and revisit the thesis or the attention getter. You can look at the quote you started your paper with and then go back and talk about that again and give some sort of finality to your essay. But yeah, you want to make sure you end from the beginning. So however you started, end. So I would look maybe back at the quote or look back to the thesis and what you stated and restate the thesis in a new way and then give some kind of sort of final thought about everything you wrote. So again, echo your introduction. Whatever you said in your thesis, restate it in a new way. Do not write your thesis in the same wording. Restate it in a new way. Maybe restate your 3 points in a new way, different way. Don't just change the words in a new way. Kind of means the same thing. And end with your voice. Discrimination is terrible and this story has proven that or whatever. But don't put I think or my. Again, nowhere in your essay should you ever have I, me, my, I think, I say. And at the end, maybe you could challenge the reader. Prejudice has affected people throughout history, so humans need to rise up against it so everyone's equal, something like that. Or in the 1930s, there was no equality. We had our first African-American president for the past 8 years, so the future looks bright, or whatever. So, maybe something like that. But again, restate your thesis and restate your 3 points in a new way. And end with your voice. The last couple sentences at least have to be your own voice or argument of how you would end. So if your thesis and your attention getter was what I wrote originally here about the American dream, and I talked about the former leader of the NAACP saying that people couldn't get the American dream because they only got paid minimum wage. I talk about Crooks being discriminated against, Curley's wife and Lenny, and not getting the American dream. Here's a conclusion example. The 1930s was a tough time for most of America. Crooks, Curley's wife, and Lenny exemplified the plight, use those strong words, of the American citizen during the Depression, and how it was, sadly, impossible to achieve your dream. Although this may be difficult for us to comprehend in a world where we have so much opportunity, Curley's wife could have never imagined a world where women would be the next president. They wrote this before the election. Crooks would be proud to see that a man like Barack Obama is leading the free world. Also, thanks to the American Disabilities Act and many people who have fought for civil rights of disabled individuals, we're all much closer to being treated equally. Benjamin Todd would be proud to see the equality becoming much closer and the minimum wage being raised to $12. See how I revisited that minimum wage? An hour. Maybe in the near future, people like Lenny can reach their American dream. So again, that end there, I went back to Benjamin Todd would be proud. That's the guy from my attention getter. So revisit your attention getter and talk about that minimum wage now being $12. That is what I'm talking about with your conclusion. Revisit the beginning and make some sort of statement at the end. All of this is my own voice, and that's what I want for your conclusion. Good luck, guys. And remember, due Monday.